Hi, everyone. Max Emmer here from Emmer Law. I'm here with a friend and colleague, Nicole Gopoian Wirick, who is a financial advisor, an attorney, a certified financial planner, basically an everything know-how in the world of finance. Nicole, first of all, how are you?
Hi, Max. I'm well, and you are far too kind. You are my
Well,
go-to for divorce
this is
resources.
what you
So,
this is what you pay me for, so I say nice things. But all kidding aside, I'm not being paid. Nicole is excellent. But Nicole, one thing I see in my practice in divorce, and I think just given where the world is, everyone's wondering what the hell is going on with the economy? What the hell is going on with inflation in the market? So, without putting you on the spot and putting a silver bullet on what's going to happen in the next 6 to 12 months, what should people listening or around town know about the market and the general thoughts on the outlook for, say, the next 6 to 12 months?
that's a great question, Max. And there are no crystal balls. No one knows what
You'd
the
make a
future
lot
will
of money
hold.
if there were crystal balls
Yes, I
and you had
certainly
access
would.
to them. Yes.
Yes. Uh, With that said, the question that's on everyone's mind these days seems to be whether or not the Fed can engineer this soft landing. You hear this all the time when you turn on the TV or you read the newspaper. And basically, what that means in translation is that can the Fed continue to raise interest rates to combat inflation without pushing the economy into a recession? And again, no one has a crystal ball, but that certainly is the risk and the thought on everyone's mind. So certainly there could be some market volatility continued in the next 6 to 12 months. But what I always remind investors is that investing is a long-term disciplined process. And we don't change our investment policy statement based on speculation or what is unknown. So with that said, we continue to work our plan and we implement a globally diversified multi-asset class portfolio, which is just a fancy way of saying that we own investments with the hopes that one zigs while the other zags so that we spread out risk over time.
So basically it's unless you have super specific needs or wants or objectives, it's ensuring that whatever you have is somewhat diversified and not overly leveraged. Therefore, during these tumultuous times or peaks and valleys, you can ride it out to a certain degree without any major volatility and get to the next period of either calm or hopefully growth.
Absolutely, Max. And we do that. We do that by staying focused on the long-term plan, by not making short-term emotionally driven reactions, and by utilizing good financial planning to make sure that our cash flows are prudent. We're monitoring our inflows versus our outflows and make sure that we're operating at a safe, free cash flow target. And we also have an emergency and a sinking fund in place so that if something does pop up out of the blue and we need a significant portion of cash, we have access to that resource and we don't have to disrupt our investment strategy in order to address that opportunity or emergency.
That makes sense. And one thing I think we were talking about that I thought you crystallized better than I do, and I do this work every day. A lot of my clients, when we're going through the property and financial settlement in a divorce, when we're dividing brokerage accounts or retirement accounts, when there's a date certain and depending on when the judgment is entered, there's usually an intermediary period of time where obviously the market isn't static, it fluctuates. And a lot of people, especially the one who owns the account, even though it's marital property, has concerns about what if everything goes up or goes down and how those are shared. And I described legally what we do, and kind of I'd like you to dovetail off that because I think you gave a great explanation. How we typically prevent one party getting severely disadvantaged is one, we pick a date of division that's mutually agreed upon, so we're not throwing a dart at a moving target. And second, we put in language that the gains and losses during and between the date we reach an agreement and the date of formal division, gains and losses are shared equally and proportionally. So that way, if the account goes up 100 grand during that month, which would be great for one party, that's shared. Similarly, if it goes down 100 grand, that's also shared. And so from a non-legal view, what's the best way to explain that to clients so they know they're not getting, for lack of a better word, screwed during this period between agreement and division?
Absolutely, Max. That's a great question. So I like to address this with clients by explaining to them that they're actually, in most cases, getting shares of an investment, and those shares are split equally. So both parties receive the same equal number of shares in the division. And if those shares go up, that's great for both parties. And if it goes down, both parties suffer in the same way. So we're not getting dollars, whereas accounts can fluctuate based on dollar value. Instead, we're splitting the shares equally. And with a good financial plan in place and that emergency fund and sinking fund we talked about, if the separation is done at a time when the shares are down in value, you don't have to sell those shares in order to address your cash flow or sinking fund needs. You can continue to hold them as they hopefully then continue to gain value over time.
Definitely. And I think unless we have oftentimes, unless a party's been separated for 4 years and they want to pick a date certain, most of the time it is either a percentage or a share. That way, one party isn't feeling like they're getting screwed over or killed on the gains or the losses during that period. So, Nicole, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Max, that's why it's so important to have a really great attorney and financial planner, someone like yourself, coaching clients through this discussion so they understand what that property looks like upon the split, and they're then able to make their plans accordingly.
Definitely. Well, Nicole, I'm so glad we talked about this, and I think we're going to talk about a little more fun and not so clinical things yet. But anyone has any questions about their current financial advisory or investments or their needs in the Metro Detroit or Michigan area, please reach out to Nicole. Thanks so much.